If your 1080p gaming setup deserves more than inconsistent performance or wasted money on the wrong GPU, the right upgrade can change everything. A good graphics card doesn't just increase frame rates, it makes gameplay smoother, keeps settings higher for longer, and helps your system stay relevant for future games without constant upgrades. In this video, we're breaking down the best GPUs for 180p gaming in 2026 and helping you understand which options actually make sense for different budgets. We'll talk about value, real-world performance, and where spending more stops making a difference. If you want to check current prices or see the recommended options, you'll find links in the description below. Without further delay, let's get started with the list. Starting at number 5, Nvidia RTX 3050. The RTX 3050 is one of those cards that makes sense for a very specific type of 1080p gamer. If you prefer Nvidia features and mainly play a mix of esports titles and lighter AAA games, it can still deliver a smooth experience at high settings. Games like competitive shooters run comfortably, and DLSS support helps keep newer titles playable as games become more demanding. That makes it a decent choice for someone upgrading from an older GPU or buying their first budget gaming PC. That said, it's important to keep expectations realistic. In raw performance, it's weaker than some similarly priced options, so paying more than around the budget range really doesn't make sense. If the price climbs too high, there are better value cards that simply give you more frames for the money. My verdict is simple. The RTX 3050 works best if you want Nvidia features on a budget, but only at the right price. At number 4, AMD Radeon RX 6600. The RX 6600 is one of those cards that just makes sense for most 1080p gamers who want strong performance without spending too much. In real gameplay, it handles modern AAA titles comfortably at high settings and easily pushes high frame rates in competitive games, which is exactly what most people want from a 1080p setup. It's also known for being efficient and easy to run, so you don't need a big power supply or a complicated build to get good results. That makes it a great fit for budget builds or upgrading older PCs without changing everything else. This card is best for players who want the best value per dollar and mainly game at 1080p without worrying about extra features. The downside is that it's very much a 1080p focused card. Once you start pushing heavier future titles or higher resolutions, you'll begin to see its limits sooner than higher tier options. My verdict is simple. For pure 180p gaming value, the RX 6600 is still one of the easiest recommendations right now. At number 3, AMD Radeon RX 7000. The RX 7000 sits right in the sweet spot for most 180p gamers who want strong performance without stepping into expensive territory. In real use, this is the kind of card that lets you run modern AAA games at high settings while still keeping frame rates smooth, and competitive games feel effortless at high refresh rates. It's especially good for players who want a newer generation card that handles everyday gaming easily without needing upgrades around it. Reviews consistently show it delivering a smooth 1080p experience and strong performance for this resolution class. This card is best for gamers who want that balance between price and performance and plan to stay at 1080p for a while. The honest downside is ray tracing performance. Once you start pushing heavy ray tracing settings, you'll need to lower settings to keep things playable. My verdict is simple. For pure 1080p gaming, the RX 7600 is one of the easiest mid-range choices right now. At number 2, Nvidia RTX 3060 Ti. The RTX 3060 Ti is one of those cards that has stayed relevant for a long time because it simply delivers where it matters for gaming. At 1080p, it still runs modern games smoothly at high settings, and it has enough performance headroom that you don't feel forced to upgrade the moment new titles come out. For players who want strong performance today but also want their system to last a few years, this sits in a really comfortable spot. It's also a good choice if you prefer Nvidia features like DLSS and better ray tracing support in newer games. This card is best for gamers who want a strong mid-range experience without paying high-end prices. It gives you the flexibility to move into 1440p later while still being excellent for 1080p right now. Reviews and comparisons still show it holding up well against newer mid-range cards in real gaming performance. The downside is that it's an older generation card, so power efficiency and newer features aren't as strong as the latest releases. My verdict is simple. The RTX 3060 Ti is still one of the safest mid-range choices if you want smooth 1080p gaming without overspending. At number 1, AMD Radeon RX 7800 XT. The RX 7800 XT takes the top spot because it gives you more than just great 1080p performance. In everyday gaming, this card runs modern AAA titles at max settings without breaking a sweat, and frame rates stay extremely smooth even in demanding scenes. For pure 1080p gaming, it's honestly more power than most people need, but that's exactly why it makes sense for gamers who plan to keep their system for several years or upgrade to a 1440p monitor later. You're not buying buying it just for today, you're buying it so you don't have to think about upgrading again anytime soon. This card is best for players who want long-term value and the freedom to move beyond 1080p without replacing their GPU. The honest downside is price. If you only plan to stay at 180p long-term, you are paying for performance you may not fully use right now. My verdict is simple. If you want the most future-ready option on this list while still being excellent for 1080p today, the RX 7800 XT is the smart, long-term pick.